Hello, welcome back everyone, and today I have for you a video on the top players that have never won the challenge. Now, some of these people that I have on this list has officially announced their retirement from the challenge, and other players on this list have played in recent seasons, and some are competing currently on this season of the challenge, season 35 Total Madness. So next to those players' names, I have in parentheses, not yet. And let's just jump into it. I have 13 names, lucky 13 or unlucky 13, depending on how you view this list. We're gonna start in no particular order, and we're gonna start off with Nani. Now, Nani's been on 9 challenge seasons. She's only been to 1 finals, and that was Free Agents, where she came in 2nd place behind Laurel, the Eliminator Dominator. Nani's elimination record, she's 3-8, which is not very good, but if you take her 4 wins from Battle of the Exile, from Battle of the X's 2, then it comes out to an even 7-8, which is pretty respectable. Now, with Nani, she is not the type of player that really thrives in a solo season. I know that sounds crazy after I just mentioned her only final appearance came from a solo season, but she did not see a single elimination that whole season, and she was able to make it to the finals and play really, really well into the finals. And too bad we haven't seen her in a recent finals lately, but she got really, really close in Battle of the X's 2. She looked to be on a trajectory to make it to the finals in War of the Worlds, where she was paired up with Turbo. However, that twist where they split up, and then not too long after they split up, Nani was sent into the elimination and lost in one of the worst eliminations I've seen on the show. But with that being said, I feel as though she really thrives in a team slash duo type of season, and I feel as though if she gets into another Battle of the Xers or Rivals, she could make it really, really far into that season and possibly win it. The next one we're talking about is Nani's ex, Kahuta. Now, he's been on 4 challenge seasons. He has not made it to a finals, and he's 3-3 in his elimination record. And I know what you're asking, how is a person that's never been to a finals, has a broken even type of elimination record on this list? Kahuta has been one of the most underestimated challenge competitors of all time. I almost think that he equates to Jay from this season of the challenge. He's small in stature, but he can come in, he's fighting, he shows that he's always ready to compete. He gave Wes his first elimination loss. Now, his rookie season was the Island, which is a tough season in general, not to mention his rookie season where he wasn't able to make it as far as he would have liked to. His second season was the Ruins, which is a difficult season if you weren't a challenge champion or on the champions team. And then it just kind of snowballed from there. His best season was Free Agents, where he took home 6th place, which had a ton of tough competitors. It was a tough format, and Kahuta was just always ready to compete, and he was one of those people that you just couldn't help but to root for him when you saw him on a challenge season. The next competitor we're talking about is Tori Deal. She's been in 4 challenge seasons, she's ran 2 finals, and her elimination record is 3-1. Now, she is a well-rounded challenge competitor, as we've seen her get really physical in daily challenge and eliminations, and she does really well at those. And she does well in the social aspect of the game. She's made it to a finals in a solo season and a team format. Now, math is not her strong point, but it's not really a strong point for anybody in the challenge house. But give her a couple more challenge seasons, and I feel as though that she will get the title of challenge champ sooner rather than later. Now, the next person we're going to be talking about is Anissa, who's on this current season of the challenge. She's been on 13 challenge seasons. She's been to 2 finals. In her elimination record, she's 8-9. She's seen 17 elimination rounds. She's had multiple seasons of 3 elimination wins. In her early challenge career, she was an overall beast of a player. She was good in both eliminations, daily challenges, and the social aspect of the game. She was able to make it far. She was a force to be reckoned with. And fairly recently, Anissa has seen a couple of stumbling blocks in her challenge career, to where she took off a good chunk of a hiatus from the challenge, and now she's back on this season of the challenge, Total Madness, and she's in a very strong alliance. She's looking very strong. She's been in 1 tribunal so far, and I feel as though if she plays her cards right and gets back to that domination in the eliminations, that she could possibly get her red skull, make it to the finals, and get another finals appearance. And the next person we're talking about is someone who used to be very, very close with Anissa, and that is Corey. Now, Corey's been on 7 challenge seasons. He's been to 2 finals, Battle of the Bloodlines and Invasion of the Champions. His elimination record is 5-3, and let me tell you right now, just like Anissa, Corey had so much potential in the beginning of his challenge career, being to 2 finals out of his first 3 seasons, and then all of a sudden, once we got to Dirty 30, that's when his challenge career started getting muddied up from him talking too much and putting a target on his back, saying he was going to go after the OG old players in Dirty 30, setting him up to be thrown into the eliminations early and often to where he was gone. And that bled into vendettas, where he was taken out early by his best friend, and then also in Final Reckoning coming in very late into the game as mercenaries and having his anger and his frustrations being shown out there and getting the best of them. It wasn't really good. It really leveled out to him being considered one of the most overrated challenge competitors of all time in a lot of people's minds. Now, he took off some time away from the show, did a couple of other MTV shows, and he's coming into Total Madness, completely flipped his strategy. He's been in 2 tribunals, but he's laying very low in this challenge season, kind of playing how Wes wants to play, as Possum, and he's doing a fantastic job with it. If he can really settle in, get his red skull, he could possibly make it to the finals and really give a run for the money to possibly get his first challenge win. And that's not saying just only for this season. If he can keep this momentum on for maybe next season, or if he's possibly seen in the 3 seasons from now, I feel as though that he has a great shot of getting a challenge win underneath his belt. Now, you can't talk about Corey without talking about his best friend Nelson in this aspect, as Nelson has been on 6 challenge seasons. He's been to 1 finals, which was Invasion of the Champions, where he took home 2nd place right behind CT, and that was like really close. It was like 2 minutes and 22 seconds separated them. His elimination record is fantastic. He's 8-2-1, where that 1 draw came in vendettas against one of the best challenge legends of all time, Darrell Taylor. The Achilles heel of Nelson's challenge career has really come down to purge challenges, his own anger, and his social game. He is terrible at all those. He's taken off a good chunk of a time to get away from the game, maybe center himself. Nelson has really focused his game a lot this season, and if he can be put on more cast lists for the challenge, I feel he could possibly set himself up really well in future challenges and possibly get that challenge win. The next person we're talking about is Teresa, who's been on 6 challenge seasons herself. She has 1 final appearance, and that was as a replacement in Battle of the Exes 2, and she's 2-6 in her elimination career. I know what you're thinking, how does this stack up compared to some of the other players that I have already spoken about and possibly haven't spoken about to yet? Teresa in her challenge career has some of the best physicality of any female. She is ready to play. She's ready to dominate. And if you remember in Battle of the Exes 2, she played one of the best games with her partner Wes, and she looked as though that Wes and her were going to make it to the finals until that whole Battle of the Exile twist happened. And they were thrown in against Leroy and Naya, was eliminated, then Naya got DQ'd right before the finals. Teresa came in there, and she actually showed up to those finals and was looking like she was able to win them by herself. And it's really sad that she wasn't to more finals in her challenge career, and I feel as though that her challenge career really was one of those things that if she would have zigged or zagged, would have went left instead of right, that she would have had multiple challenge wins, and if she would have done more seasons after Battle of the Exes 2, that possibly she would have been a challenge champ by this time. The next person we're talking about is Tony Reigns, who's been on 6 challenge seasons, only 1 final appearance. Now, when you look at his challenge resume, he was pretty lackluster in his first couple of seasons, and it was mainly due to his anger, being DQ'd, his drinking, his cheating, and he started turning the tides around Dirty 30. Now, Dirty 30, he kissed Camilla and he drank a lot as well, but he was purged in Dirty 30 and was sent home right before the finals, and then he really turned everything around coming into Vendettas, where Vendettas, he played a lights out kind of game. He was in the Troika 7 times. He made it to the finals, never saw a single elimination. He was focused. We saw him. He trained so hard. And then he came into Final Reckoning as a replacement, and he played with Johnny Bananas, and they were dominant in that season as well. Yes, they were sent to the Redemption House, but they won themselves back into the game, and they were actually eliminated in the elimination right before the finals so many times towards the end of his challenge season. He even won Champs vs. Stars 2018 with CT. I mean, he was right there at the doorstep of it being a challenge champ so many times. And you just think that if he didn't announce his retirement, I mean, he could still come back to the challenge if he really, really wanted to. But if he would have just stuck with it, kept up his training, he would have been able to secure himself as a challenge champion for the main game if he really wanted to by this time. Even if he hadn't gotten it by this point, if he was on Total Madness, I would put all my money on Tony. He was just lights out towards the end of his challenge career. And the next person we're talking about is Jenna, who's on this season of the challenge. She's been on 8 seasons. She actually started out her challenge career getting to 3 straight finals, taking home 3rd place in Battle of the Exes 2, taking home 3rd place in Bloodlines, and taking home 2nd place in Rivals 3. She is 5-2 in eliminations. She could do it. And she's also one of those players that have been eliminated by a Purge Challenge in 3 straight challenge seasons. She was eliminated in the Purge Challenge in Invasion, then Dirty, then Final Reckoning. So coming into this season, she's coming in with a lot of friends, a lot of Alliance members, and she's coming in with a strong resume. I feel as though that if she keeps focused and doesn't Skype with Zach and crying and thinking that she's going to quit the game, I feel as though that she could possibly get a challenge championship within the next 5 seasons, I feel. The next person we're talking about is someone who is a challenge legend and will live on forever in our hearts and memories, and that is Deanne Brown. She was in 8 challenge seasons. She made it to 2 finals, and not the best elimination record, but just the best person to ever be on the challenge. Just inside and out, she was just beautiful, and you always would root for her. I know I would always root for her in every single challenge season she was on. She even made it to the finals in Battle of the Exes with CT. No fault to her, because it was really CT who couldn't deal with the altitude of the mountains, and they took home 2nd place, which was very admirable. Especially in that finals, which was really, really tough against 2 very tough competitors and teams. The next person we're talking about is Jen G, who's done 6 challenge seasons herself. She made it to 4 finals appearances, and she's 5-2 in her elimination career. She was one of those players that continuously made it to the finals and just could not cash in to become a challenge champ. She actually ties the record of most final appearances without getting a challenge win with somebody else that I have not mentioned yet on this list. She's one of those players that always gave it her all. She was fierce, and she was great in both daily challenges and eliminations. The next person we're talking about is Cam Williams. Now, she's still very early on in her challenge career. She's only been on 4 seasons, but she's been to 2 finals already. Her rookie season was absolutely fantastic. She won 3 eliminations, made it to the finals, and because of her grenade, she was stuck in the bottom 4. Then she aligned herself really, really well in War of the Worlds 2, made it to the finals, and just could not finish a puzzle to make it into stage 2. Cam is one of those players that is fantastic overall. I think she's one of the most complete players in challenge history, with the physicality, with the social game. And I feel as though that if she comes on another 5 seasons, she could be a multi-challenge champion. The number 1 player that, in my opinion, in heart, I feel as though is one of the best players to have not won a challenge season, and that is Leroy Garrett. Now, Leroy has been on 11 challenge seasons. He's made it to 4 finals, and his elimination record is 8-5. He's won such eliminations against Bananas, Wes, Zach, and Brad. He aligns himself with Bananas a lot, but we saw in War of the Worlds 2, he was able to adapt once Bananas and Wes had left early. He was able to adapt, get in good with Cam and the numbers, make it to the finals, never seeing an elimination. And Leroy is one of those players that whenever he's on a challenge season, I'm always rooting for him. But that's my list of the 13 players, the top 13 players that have not won a challenge season yet. Who do you think out of these 13 players that I named would be the first to get their challenge win? Let me know that in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. While you're down there, hit that like and subscribe button. I'll be back really soon with more challenge content, more content in general, brief histories, fantasy cast videos, top 10s, top 5s, deep dives, Thursdays for review and recast for The Challenge Total Madness and Survivor, and Tiny Table Talk for Friday for The Challenge Total Madness. But until then, peace.